So you know when you go to the airport or you're just in a food court and you smell that like lovely, like bready, pretzel-y, cinnamon sugary, oh hey butternut, what's up? Like smell? That's exactly what I want to taste today. Because I've been experimenting with this flavor. I think it's gonna be real good. So what I've got here is from a super blackened banana that I kind of just dropped in here and froze because it was getting so blackened it could not stay on the counter any longer. So we're gonna leave that there, and as usual, just get the oatmeal in its cup with all the spices, which I'm gonna be super heavy-handed with today because I want this to like scream cinnamon. I'm gonna go ahead and start heating this for our toasting. This is the straight up freshly crushed nutmegs, so just like 1/8 of that is fine. But as for the cinnamon, I definitely want quite a bit. You really can't, I really don't think you can overdo it when you're going for this aroma, this taste. And then some of that good pumpkin pie spice. Just a bit. Very good. Flax as usual. Most of the time, this is gonna be my fat source for adding before heating and all that. And usually I sweeten with dates, but the blackened banana is just so sugary and it gives this that like cinnamon pretzel dip vibe that I'm going for. It with the date, it's delicious, but it's not quite as strong. And today we're also going to be using the maple roasted almond magic nut butter from I Love You Peanut at iloveYouPeanut.com. And yeah, this stuff it's a nice smoky little mixed nut butter. You know, initially I wanted to do something themed around just the flavor of this, you know, something smoky. And this is definitely smoky, but it leans more into that sweet cinnamon pretzel vibe. And the blackened banana helps it achieve that, but ironically, it doesn't scream banana. It screams like cinnamon pretzel. But I kind of love that about it because it pleasantly surprised me. So let's toast this away. Set a little stopwatch here because it's so easy to over toast. Forgot to fill up this water beforehand, but that's all right. Gonna do a little less than I normally do because bananas, especially a whole overripe banana, is gonna add a decent bit of water to this. And we know, if you've viewed my videos before, I let this stuff reduce for quite a while, so it increases the cooking time a lot. This is already getting super fragrant, but I want to toast it like to the brim of just when it's before it would be too toasty, because that flavor is really important in this one. I want this one to be smoky, like a fresh toasted pretzel. And let that sit for a second. I'll whack it some more. Yeah, that smells getting pretty strong. Gonna toss this blackened banana in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Since it's frozen, drop in a tablespoon of this here flaxseed, like 1/8 of the diamond crystal. There we go. This should start smelling good. It's that same exact smell. The only difference is I'm not about to spend $12 on a pretzel. It's gonna be my breakfast for free 99. Well, nothing's free, but you know, if it comes out of the pantry and it's not a day I bought it, it feels free. It always feels free at home, doesn't it? I love that smell so much. It makes me want to pay $12 for a pretzel at an airport. I can never walk past an Aunt Annie's without getting some of those bites. All right, so I really want to mash this, make sure the nana is liquefied in there, and then we'll let the boil calm down because this thing is about to start going crazy. Let you calm down a little bit here, and then I'll put you back on the heating element. This should be fine. If he doesn't calm down, I will check back on him. In the meantime, let's work on our little flavor bomb. I'm thinking it's not going to be anything too insane. I'm just going to dollop that in there with some of the ACV, but I do want kind of like a dressing to put on the top, so I'll work on that. Looks like that's quieting down. That's nice. I think it should be good. All right, so let's get on that. Use about a tablespoon for a little dressing on top, and then we'll get a whole lot more for putting it in the oatmeal itself as it finishes cooking. The almond pecan butter is pretty important here because if you were to use peanut butter, it definitely wouldn't be that pretzel vibe. It'd be more like a dog treat pretzel because you get like the peanut butter and cinnamon. I'm sure it would still be delicious, but this is a more neutral, just nice, fat, like salty, cinnamony butter that's gonna do the trick. So let me get a little bit of ACV in here and the tiniest bit imaginable of liquid smoke. The stuff is great, but it's so strong, and if you use too much of it, then it feels like you're eating wood. Let's see, I think that's a modest amount. Let me smell. Yeah, that's plenty. I mean, literally that small of an amount, just, it makes a decent difference, gives it a little kick. Be a little bit of maple syrup, because this is a maple roasted almonds, but you know, it's good to have like a flavor at like different layers of cooking. Like this butter, it's a roasted nut butter that was maple roasted, but at the end there's like a little extra dab. So there's different layers of that maple. And this here, as I said, this is not our flavor bomb. This is just gonna be like a little thing I drop on it at the end. It's smelling fantastic. I feel like I could use a bit more. Let me see. Could get away with making this a bit more liquidy, seeing as it's gonna be more like a drizzle. Can even zap this in the microwave right before I pour it over. It would be really nice. Like a hot, like some of that cinnamon pretzel dip, but like hot and smoky. Man, this smells so good. I talk so much about how my porridge smells as I make it, but like, I think if I could only pick one to turn into a candle, so far, this is probably the one I'd go with. I mean, it's a wonderful smell. Lick of the little spatula there, it's already tasting nice, but I know it's gonna get even stronger. Just have a little bit in here in case I wanna add some to the pot when I add this delicious almond pecan butter to it later. Now, for the top of this thing, I'm thinking I definitely wanna drop a little pretzel wedged into the top of the square. Some sea salt, will make it even more pretzel-y. And then some of this leftover strudel I've got. And then since it is an almond pecan butter, I haven't really used pecans in a while, so I think some of those would be really pretty on there. I think another thing I could experiment with is, oh, that's the Nana cup right over there, is maybe making like a little pretzel garnish. It might just be kind of like useless. Maybe this stuff is just kind of better to just like highlight it, but I don't know. It might be pretty. It might be pretty, add a little variety to the texture and all that. So just in case, I'm gonna have that ready. Sometimes I like having ingredients ready that I don't fully intend to use. It's just like, what if it's needed? That's kind of what this is here. But I think it looks quite good though. I'm gonna chop more than I would use and then just use as much as I need. You know, I probably wouldn't, if I was gonna use this, I probably wouldn't even need the sea salt because of all the little salty bits from the pretzel, but we'll have to taste and see. Let me see just how. Yeah, I'd still probably use a bit of the sea salt. It's a much nicer flavor. This is more just to make it look all pretty, assuming I do even end up using these. And this banana, since I did cook it with an entire banana, I do kind of want to show off that ingredient on the side of the square, kind of like a butterfly cucumber style, but like with a banana. So rather than topping the oatmeal with the banana, he's just gonna be on the side, like a pickle that comes with a sub. Not gonna add anything to it, just gonna be there, you know, and then who doesn't like a banana anyway? So, well, I know quite a few people that don't like a banana, but people with taste, you know. This is smelling incredible. Okay, those two would probably look pretty on there. We could always chop some of these though to give us other options for the pecan garnish. We got 2 wholes, 4 halves, and then some that are just straight up crushed, because we never know what we're gonna want. I've got barely any maple syrup left, but I'll probably also use that for like a last second drizzle. I love like a nice diamond shaped drizzle over my square. I'm gonna do the most careful banana peeling I possibly can, since I am just using you for your beauty. Sorry, banana. Not bad. Let's get rid of that end. I don't think I'll use that. I want the side that's thicker. No, I think I'm gonna, there we go. Don't really need that. We'll hold off on cutting this in the prettiest way we can because it's gonna start falling apart. I'm gonna wait till we're ready to plate to do that. Let's see how we're holding up. Cooking with a super ripe banana is so fun. Believe it or not, I say that and I've never made banana bread, and that's the best use of an overripe banana for sure. So I definitely gotta try that sometime. But like, even just in a pot, it's like, once you can't see the banana slices anymore, you would think it's like reduced to nothingness, but the flavor doesn't leave at all. It's so intense. It's incredibly sweet. It really does smell like there's banana bread baking or there's an Aunt Annie's nearby. I kid you not. It's fantastic. Definitely takes a lot longer to reduce when I cook with the blackened nana, but it's very worth it. We're not too far from the finish line here, so I'm just gonna cut this up a bit. I think that's enough divisions. I'll probably only need those first 4 or 5 for my plate anyway. We'll see. This is looking really pretty. All the individual little bits of steel cut oatmeal in there. All right, in the final stages here, I think I'm gonna add some of that magic nut butter. Can use the same spoon for that drizzle. This has got pretty much the same stuff in there. All right, so let's drop a helping of that in there, as well as a little bit of the liquid smoke, and then like a cap full of the apple cider vinegar. It gives a whole new dimension to the smell. Now it's like a smoky maple Aunt Annie's pretzel dip. Kind of reminds me of being at IHOP and using syrup on my bacon just by itself, no pancake, on a plate. It's that like smoky, meaty taste, but it's nice and sugary. Definitely thickening from that butter, but it still needs a little more reducing before it can sit tight as a square. You taste, oh yeah, it's next level cinnamon flavor. I mean, you know, nothing against the basic, you know, cinnamon, nutmeg, kind of carrot cakey porridge taste, but the element of smoke, the intense sweetness from that blackened banana, and the contrast with the sour acidity of the ACV, it creates something that hits so much harder, but it's still so cinnamony. Like, it still screams Aunt Annie's pretzel. So it's like, I don't see myself ever wanting to just do a plain cinnamon like oatmeal or anything like that. This is just where it's at. This is my second time giving it a go, but I think it's doing even better now. I went a lot heavier on the ACV. It was a bit riskier with the liquid smoke as well, but I did not overdo it. I mean, that is just right. Taste our drizzle here. Yeah, nice, like super strong, little bit of dressing. It's mostly ACV there. It's gonna help along the top because of how sweet this thing is gonna be in itself. Oh, this is kind of scorching now. Let's turn it down. It's gonna finish cooking itself anyway. I can see some like scorched films on the side of the pan, and it's like, I just can't shut up about that, like that Aunt Annie's kind of smell it has. I'm just super nostalgic about Aunt Annie's, okay? It's like kind of really elevates this flavor for me. Makes me enjoy it that much more. Little Red Sea test here. Yeah, that's gonna hold its own, especially considering the little square mold here is gonna get super hot in there as I let it sit, which will continue to cook it a bit more. Could you imagine eating this porridge between a pretzel bun, like an oatmeal sloppy joe? Just like carbs on carbs. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had that idea, but it would be so messy and like ridiculous that it just would not be worth it. Unless you do it like open faced with like the bottom of a pretzel bun, or just like dip pretzel sticks into it. But that's not what we're going for here. This thing in itself, just as oatmeal, has that pretzel flavor. And I came to this destination unintentionally. I was like, ooh, magic almond, you know, pecan, cinnamon, butter. That's smoky. I could use liquid smoke with that. And then before I know it, I'm cooking and I'm like, nah. I got that smell. I'm like, we're going in another direction. But that's the magic of creating stuff. I'm gonna taste a little bit of the finished product by itself. Oh my gosh, geez. It's better than I expected. Like the last time I went for a cinnamon flavor, it did not compare. I'm getting impatient with this thing. I want to dive in. It should be ready in a second here anyway. This thing gets so hot since it's metal. Let me give it a few more seconds. Voila. Let's do this. Very nice. Oh, look at us. Fantastic. I think I want a bit more liquid here before I microwave this hot little reduction thing. It's not a reduction. I'm just microwaving vinegar and almond butter and maple syrup in the microwave, but it's somewhat of one. Okay, I'm thinking bananas can go on here first. You know, it's okay if those get a little bit of the rain from the garnish. I wonder if that fourth one is even necessary. I don't think he is. I'll probably eat the rest, but it just doesn't look like it needs it, you know? Let's yield some more of this. It's a bit too clumpy. Whew, this stuff is strong. Okay, let's kind of just spill it on here, not really with any rhyme or reason, just little goblets of this ACV cinnamon almond butter dressing thing. I wish I had a bit more of it so I could kind of more evenly distribute it, but it's fine. I don't like the contrast with the color. It's a little too close to how the original thing looks, but that's fine as well. Okay, let's sit this pecan at home here. Now there's a nice contrast, that pecan color. So that helps it quite a bit at least. Let's see, we can put our other one right there. Not too bad. And then maybe just some like stalactite pecans that are like came from the sky type thing here, you know? Why not? All right. Victory's a little clearer now. Let's see, do I want to go with my standard, more fine strudel or the pretzel stuff itself? You know what? Let's go with the pretzels themselves. I think it just makes more sense, you know? It may not have been the initial plan, but like that's the flavor this ended up being. And I can always use more of this strudel for like definition at the end. Come to think of it, like it doesn't need the banana on the side, but it just kind of fills up a room there, you know? On some of the regular strudel stuff too, definitely helps to highlight this. And do a little finishing of what I've got here. Nice. And last but certainly not least, boop, there we go. Smokey pretzel pecan. Wow, you are pretty. All right, thank you, Lord, for this smoky pretzel pecan oatmeal square. You know, even though I gave it that name, I almost just want to call it the Aunt Annie's oatmeal because I cannot get that out of my mind. Even just getting a whiff of the air here. But let's just dive in, see how well we did this morning. Immediately after eating it, it's got like that taste in my mouth of the dark brown toasting on a pretzel stick, a pretzel bun. But then it's also extremely sweet. If we're talking about the porridge itself, it's incredibly sweet. And this super acidic little almond butter, ACV, maple syrup bits that I dropped on it, even though I wished the color was a bit lighter, this definitely needs it, as it's just so acidic, so salty, and it balances very well with the flavor of the porridge. Let me get some with these pretzel bits and maybe a pecan for that added crunch. Let's see. Having an actual pecan with it definitely shows me this almond butter really is a bit less neutral because it is a mixed nut butter, you know, it's got some pecan in it as well. And it's kind of revealing the pecan side of this dish to me. Now I definitely feel more comfortable applying that smoky pretzel pecan flavor to it. That intense maple syrup sweetness, greatly enhanced by the overripe banana that was cooked in it beforehand with the actual pecan topping itself. And the little pretzel bits, you know, even though it's just grocery store pretzels, you know, seeing the pretzel there really enhances the visual eating experience. But not only that, it does add some more crunch without the need to go extra heavy-handed on the pecans. And since there was so much used in the cooking process, let's see what this is like with a banana and our pretzel and our pecan. Why not? Let's get like the whole flavor portfolio here of this dish here. Not even a flavor profile. This is the whole damn resume of this smoky pretzel pecan oatmeal. Let's see if he's hired. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And you know, even eating it with the banana, while the added starchiness definitely makes it a better bite, the flavor still doesn't scream banana at all. It's just pecan, pretzel, maple. And you know, like I said, if it didn't have the incorporation of the ACV, I mean, it would be like dessert for breakfast. But now it's like dessert for breakfast that doesn't make me feeling like I need something salty after. So that sweet and salty contrast makes it very satiating. I think one thing that could have enhanced this a lot is more going on with the porridge itself, which, while it has that excellent cinnamon flavor, most of that sweet, salty, and acidic balance I gained from the dressing I added on top, which is fair, you know, because that's part of the dish, but the porridge itself doesn't compare to the last few I've made. While it is delicious, the sum of its parts here, though, which is what we're reviewing as well, is excellent. Every time I want to blurt out what I'm scoring this, I enjoy the bite so much that I'm like, I'm being too harsh. I'm thinking this is like a light to decent 4-star. If the oatmeal itself, prior to having the dressing on it, offered more of that acidity, and then, you know, perhaps the dressing could have been more balanced to where it, like, you know, looks lighter, looks prettier on it, and then say add some more definition to the flavor, but isn't the crutch of it, which I would say that dressing, it feels like the crutch of the porridge. Well, it's good by itself, great actually, but is it as zingy as the lemon date oatmeal I made? Is it as delicious as a bite of the curry oatmeal I made, which had an intense lime flavor? Not by itself. By itself, it's just a nice, sweet, you know, cinnamony oatmeal. The toppings really make it here. And I think if the porridge held its own, then it would be a contender with some of my other greatest ones. But I would still give it a light to decent 4 stars. This is still very delicious. Let me know what you think I should cook next, as far as flavor is concerned, where I should go, what foods I should try, because I do love reviewing food just as much as I like cooking it. But this has been Smokey Pretzel Pecan Oatmeal Square. Have a blessed one.